Potter profile on Phineas Nigellus Black, a Cast a Spell series. Phineas Nigellus was born in 1847. He was known as a wizard of intelligence, featuring black hair, shrewd, narrow, dark eyes, a pointed beard, and thin eyebrows. In his portrait, he was shown dressed in the green and silver that symbolize Slytherin House, along with a hat. He had 3 siblings, Sirius I, Elladora, and Iola Black. Growing up in a family that valued blood purity, Phineas held a deep-seated resentment towards Muggleborns, whom he derogatorily referred to as mudbloods and viewed as being intellectually inferior. In 1858, Phineas Nigellus turned 11 and began his studies at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, where he was sorted into Slytherin House. Phineas had a black and silver wand, its core unknown, which we presume he got at Ollivander's wand shop. During a defense against the dark arts lesson, Phineas received a scolding from Professor Dinah Hecat for eating a sugar quill in class. After completing his education around 1865, Phineas Nigellus married Ursula Flint. By the age of 30, they welcomed a son named Sirius in memory of his late brother. They later had 4 more children, Arcturus, Belvina, and Cygnus. But Phineas Jr. diverged from his father's beliefs on pure blood supremacy and was therefore disowned by the Black family for advocating Muggle rights. As an adult, Phineas assumed the role of a professor at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, a position he despised due to the disrespectful behavior of his students. Later on, he was appointed as the Headmaster of Hogwarts by the Ministry of Magic. He accepted the position mainly for the prestige it offered, showing little interest in being a role model or in children's education. During his tenure as headmaster, both of his sons, Sirius II and Phineas, were students at Hogwarts. In the 1890-1891 school year, the ministry tasked Black with organizing the arrival of a Hogwarts student who would be joining as a 5th year. Deputy Headmistress Matilda Weasley stressed the need for the student to have a mentor to prepare for entry, so Black appointed Professor Eleazar Fig for the job. He collaborated with the Department of Magical Education to procure a wizard's field guide to assist the student with their studies. On 1st September 1890, Black supervised the sorting ceremony. Upon the final sorting of the first-year students, he noticed Fig observing from outside the Great Hall and approached him, along with the new 5th-year student. Black informed Fig that the ceremony had concluded and prevented Fig from discussing goblins, dismissing them as mere rumors. Nevertheless, he allowed the student to participate in the sorting and guided them into the hall. Afterward, Black announced the cancellation of the Quidditch season for the year, citing a student, who was actually a pureblood, being injured in the previous spring's final match.
Oh, and one more thing. Due to the unfortunate injury on the pitch in last spring's final, this year's Quidditch season has been cancelled. Enough! It's not as though I've banned flying altogether, but don't tempt me. You are here to focus on your academic futures. I'm sure you will have plenty to do before classes begin tomorrow. I said, I'm sure you all have plenty to do before classes begin tomorrow.
He then tasked Professor Weasley with guiding the new 5th-year student to their common room. Later that year, he instructed Gladwin Moon to take down the bells from the school's bell towers, claiming that their ringing caused him headaches. There were rumors circulating that he disliked the sound of the bells because it brought back memories of his wedding day. Throughout the school year, Black remained unaware as numerous world-threatening events unfolded around him. including Ranrock's planned invasion of the school. When George Osric, a high-ranking ministry official, was accidentally killed. Phineas instructed Professor Fig to travel to London to discuss George Osric's death with the Minister for Magic. As Phineas was still unaware of the Goblin Revolution unfolding around him, Professor Fig and the new fifth-year student came up with a plan to try and stop the revolution. This plan involved the new student using Polyjuice Potion to impersonate Black to give him access to the headmaster's office. To make sure Phineas was out of the way, Professor Fig arranged for him to meet a contact in Hogsmeade to distract him, which resulted in Phineas getting very drunk. During Ranrock's invasion to replace Wizardkind with Goblinkind, Black was absent from the ensuing battle. He conducted a clumsy and casual tribute to the fallen Professor Fig during the memorial ceremony held in the Great Hall. Significantly, he hesitated to acknowledge the remarkable heroism and prowess of the new fifth-year student who single-handedly defeated Ranrock.
Professor Eleazar Fig. I dare say he was a beloved professor to many of you, certainly a long-standing colleague to his peers. A famed adventurer and seeker of knowledge, he built a reputation charging into the unknown, brazenly disregarding both discretion and safety, providing perhaps a rather unfortunate lesson for us all. His devotion to adventure was rivaled only by his dedication to Hogwarts. And of course, to his wife, Middy, whom we lost much too soon as well. Yeah.
Black incorporated his pure-blood supremacist beliefs into the school's management. He tried to influence Minister Faris Spavin to alter the Hogwarts admissions criteria, presumably to benefit purebloods and limit Muggle-born students, although his proposal was rejected. On a separate occasion, he neglected to reprimand 2 students who were harassing a half-blood peer, justifying his inaction with the statement,
"The wise rabbit doesn't seek to outrun the tortoise, because it's not necessary."
His prejudices were widely recognized, with students spreading rumors that he harbored animosity towards anyone who did not belong to the pure-blood Slytherin house. Professor Weasley took charge of most administrative tasks and student safety matters, leaving Black to focus on his headmaster role mainly for the prestige it provided. His descendant, Sirius Black III, later characterized him as the most unpopular headmaster in the school's history. In a Hogwarts Quidditch records book discovered in the library, Professor Black was labelled a prat for his decision to cancel Quidditch. Professor Black passed away in 1925 at the age of 78. At the time of his death, Phineas Nigellus had 5 children, at least 13 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Many more descendants would come into the world after his passing. The portrait of Black in the headmaster's office displayed a lack of enthusiasm for assisting Albus Dumbledore, finding him eccentric and disagreeing with his support for Muggle-born individuals. His second portrait was placed in 12 Grimmauld Place, and like other portrait subjects in the magical world, Black had the ability to move between his portraits, a talent he frequently utilized. In 1995, Harry Potter resided in the room where Black's portrait was displayed, and Black conveyed messages from Albus Dumbledore to him. Occasionally, his voice could be heard emanating from the portrait, making sarcastic remarks, even when he was not physically present within it. The portrait had also been programmed to mock individuals with Muggle heritage. One significant message that Black delivered was regarding Arthur Weasley's encounter with Nagini while on duty for the Order of the Phoenix. Dumbledore marched over to another portrait, this time of a clever-looking wizard with a pointed beard, who had been painted wearing the Slytherin colours of green and silver, and was apparently sleeping so deeply that he could not hear Dumbledore's voice when he attempted to rouse him.
Phineas! Phineas!
And now the subjects of the portraits lining the room were no longer pretending to be asleep. They were shifting around in their frames to watch what was happening. When the clever-looking wizard continued to feign sleep, some of them shouted his name too.
Phineas!
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 He could not pretend any longer. He gave a theatrical jerk and opened his eyes wide.
Did someone call?
I need you to visit your other portrait again, Phineas,
said Dumbledore.
I've got another message.
Visit my other portrait?
Said Phineas in a reedy voice, giving a long, fake yawn, his eyes travelling around the room and focusing upon Harry.
Oh no, Dumbledore. I am too tired tonight.
Something about Phineas's voice was familiar to Harry. Where had he heard it before? But before he could think, the portraits on the surrounding walls broke into a storm of protest.
Insubordination, sir!
Roared a corpulent, red-nosed wizard, brandishing his fists.
Dereliction of duty. We are honor-bound to give service to the present Headmaster of Hogwarts.
Cried a frail-looking old wizard whom Harry recognized as Dumbledore's predecessor, Armando Dippet.
Shame on you, Phineas.
Shall I persuade him, Dumbledore?
Called a gimlet-eyed witch, raising an unusually thick wand that looked not unlike a birch rod.
Oh, very well,
said the wizard, called Phineas, eyeing this wand slightly apprehensively.
Though he may well have destroyed my picture by now. He's done most of the family.
Sirius knows not to destroy your portrait,
said Dumbledore, and Harry realized immediately where he had heard Phineas's voice before, issuing from the apparently empty frame in his bedroom in Grimmauld Place.
You are to give him the message that Arthur Weasley has been gravely injured, and that his wife, children, and Harry Potter will be arriving at his house shortly. Do you understand?
Arthur Weasley, injured, wife and children, and Harry Potter coming to stay?
Recited Phineas in a bored voice.
Yes, yes, very well.
He sloped away into the frame of the portrait and disappeared from view. While Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and Hermione Granger were on their mission to destroy Lord Voldemort's Horcruxes, Black's portrait at Grimmauld Place was concealed in Hermione's magically expanded beaded bag to prevent him from disclosing their whereabouts to Snape, who was then the Headmaster of Hogwarts. The trio later took his portrait with them when they departed from the house. During this period, Black reluctantly shared tidbits of information about the events at Hogwarts with them, offering assistance in their quest. He discovered their camping location and relayed it to Severus Snape, who then provided them with the Sword of Gryffindor. Interestingly, Black seemed more willing to assist Snape than Dumbledore, perhaps feeling a sense of pride in aiding another Slytherin headmaster. After Lord Voldemort's defeat, he observed Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and Hermione Granger in the headmaster's office. Similar to other headmaster portraits, he rejoiced in Hogwarts' victory and mentioned Slytherin House's role in it. It is believed that he would have supported future head teachers after the Second Wizarding War.